All of you can see the slide?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so just 1 minute and a half, and we can start.
Bara,
Yes.
I cannot save on my computer because I am live streaming. If you
Yeah,
want,
then it's okay, I think.
okay, let's hope it will be okay.
Or I can do it.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. If you are able, you can, since you are co-host, I think you can.
Yes,
do it.
I will do it.
Okay, so shall we start? Are all of us here? Letizia? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, in case there is some gentlemen, I hope also. First of all, welcome to this second webinar that is provided by our fantastic European Network for Gender Balance in Informatics. And of course, for all the women that are here today, nice Women Days. And we hope that in the future, for the next Women Days, we can also discuss about some results that the network will achieve in the next year. And just let me introduce our network for the one that already does not eat. So first of all, I am Valentina Lenarduzzi from Aleut University. I am a researcher there, and I am the leader of the working group about dissemination and communication for this European network. We have to work for 4 years. It's 4 years of amazing and interesting work. And we start in September, October 2020. So we are already approaching to put in practice our idea. And we were initially 24 members for different countries that were proposed in the proposal. And now we are 32 members and 65 researchers. And unfortunately, but we want to be more, 6 are male. Why I say unfortunately? Because of course we are not discriminatory for men and women. We want also to have men on board. But the important thing is to have at least some representation. We can find everything about our Kick section in this email, in this link, and will be soon, very in a couple of days, also our website. This is the main goal of our network. We want to have more girls that choose informatics in an higher education. And we want to identify how to retain female students and assure that they finish the student when they start, because there is some abandon, some percentage of abandon in the career. We want to encourage more female to study and obtain the PhD and became postdoctoral researcher. We want to support and inspire young women, and we want to leverage from the experience of the partners in the network. This is not the last goal, but one of the most important goals that we can have. This is the current status that we are in the world. There are few women in compare with men, and intentionally I put in the small compare with men, because we say that we are few, and we are not considered as men, sorry. We have less position in the higher pyramid of the hierarchy, and we are few. This is what we want to be after 4 years. We want to be more, bigger, and even if bigger than a man, because there is no difference between man and woman. We are with the same professionality. And there are some things that women are better to do, some things that are better the men to do. Follow us. We are here in the webinar, but we are also in Twitter, in Facebook. This is the hashtag, our address for Twitter and Facebook. Follow us. We need you, because we needed you repost our posts. We needed you spread our posts. So please follow us in Twitter and LinkedIn and help us to diffuse our messages. Thanks. So I have to finish to share my screen, my presentation. So today we start the second webinar with two amazing presentations from our vice leader, Bara Buhnova from University of Brno. Sorry if I don't pronounce correctly your surname, Bara. And Bara will report us today about her experience in being a woman in a world of men, let me say this one, and she will report us how the conference can help professionally to grow, and especially her experience in the ICM Woman in Courage. Thanks, Bara. The stage is yours, and at the end of your presentation, don't hesitate to formulate questions to Bara.
Thank you very much, Valentina, and thanks to all of you who has just came to this webinar. It's wonderful to have so many people here. Yeah, I hope that we'll create a beautiful community of not only women, but also men who support seeing more women among the computer scientists. So if you're not part of the community yet, just we will find a way to just have you included, have you like following us or even take part. And I think it will be especially interesting in case of the conference grants that we will be discussing today, because the EUGAIN cost action is just starting. We still are looking for filling some competence in the group, and then also having these people joining our meetings and joining conferences to talk about the EUGAIN cost action and all the wonderful work we're doing. For this inspirational talk, we decided to take the topic that is connected to the conferences, because we believe that just coming to the conferences is one of the most wonderful things we can do as researchers. And unfortunately, for many PhD students, especially, they do not see the potential yet. So what many PhD students see when they think about conferences, it's as an opportunity to just present their work. But ultimately, the conferences are not here to like give us space to present our work. The conferences are here for what we can just bring home from those conferences, and that's it. So when you come to conference, it's good to think in those matters of like, am I going there because I want to bring home some feedback to my work, or I want to bring home some connections to future collaborations, or I am bringing home some invitations to maybe join the organizing committee of the conference for the next year? So really thinking about what am I bringing home, not really what am I doing that week on that conference. And for that, I was trying to put those ideas into this presentation that I'll share with you. And as I think that this is quite an important topic that might be difficult, because it means to really like go to that space where you might feel quite vulnerable, because you are really facing criticism of your work, and you're also ready to describe your work to somebody who appears to be much smarter than you sometimes. It can be a space where you really want to feel comfortable and you want to build connections with the community, because then you really feel safer to create connections to further people and to bring more visibility to your work and bring those connections home so that they can help you to grow in your career. This can be difficult. So I put this quote in the first slide, that everything is difficult until you know how to do it. and I'll try to put some ideas together how we can just compile this in a few things that are good to keep in mind when you are at a conference. So I want to start with a little timeline why conferences are especially important to me, because I really truly believe that conferences are the greatest thing that we have available as researchers. For me, it actually started in 2004 and when I started my PhD. And what was also a good gift was that my supervisor was from a different discipline. So I was in software engineering, but my supervisor was not from software engineering. Back then at my faculty, like software engineering was not real research. So all the professors were in different disciplines. And when I wanted to do my research in software engineering, I actually needed to find my way to connect with the software engineering community. And once this might seem as a challenge or obstacle, I think that actually challenges and obstacles are the thing that makes us better. So I'm pretty happy for this thing. So when I started my PhD, I was really newbie. So it was only a month earlier before I started my PhD that I did my first flight in my life. So I wasn't even used to traveling. And with that, like the whole world opened to me. I remember I had my first research paper in 2005, but I could not attend the presentation because I was in a summer school. So I came to my first real conference in 2006. And that was the moment that was, I would say, the most important in my career, because what happened there is that it was really the first confrontation of my research with the community. I was scared that I will get some criticism. I will hear that it's not good enough and that it's not, because I really didn't have this confrontation at my university. I didn't have a professor in software engineering who would tell me if the topic is good enough or not. But what happened there was that the presentation had a great feedback, and I got into the coffee break discussions with multiple people who were just wonderful, supportive. And one of them, Ralf Reusner, professor from Germany, just invited me to come over to just join his group whenever I want, to just visit them and see if there are some connections that I can just join through their group. And that was very important because I just grabbed this opportunity again, because I think I did not have so much connection to software engineering at my university. It was easier to just grab any opportunity to just go after it, and that conference helped that. So just a few months later, actually 2 months later, I already find myself attending a seminar together with a group of Ralph, of the professor, and in 2007 joining their group as for internship within my PhD. So I was kind of like welcome and really invited to that community and to that like group of software engineering people, which is very diverse, because in software engineering you are working with human beings, but as well as like methods and tools. So you need to have a diverse community, which is really welcoming to people. Now, why am I saying that? Is because this was a pathway to actually discovering the true power of conferences. In 2008, I was already a postdoc researcher in the group of Professor Reusner. And what they did is that they were general chairs in like local organizing team for a conference called Compart. So it was in Germany in 2008, and I was very fortunate to actually be able to join that conference as a local volunteer, as you wish. So I was really sitting at that registration desk, and I could see people like interacting, you know, getting to know each other, and really like follow this thing of like being introduced to many people, because I was in that like volunteering t-shirt, ready to interact with people. And I really fell in love with conferences at that moment. I think it was really important point in my life where I started just really going for opportunities to spend more time at conferences, to be in the organizing teams of conferences. And I actually soon came to realize that it is a volunteering work, and everybody is happy when you just, dedicate some time into volunteering work. So although I thought as a PhD student, it's like very difficult to get into those organizing committees, it's not that difficult, because like volunteers are welcome to join any kind of group and committee. And I think it's the same with this EUGAIN cost action. It's a volunteering activity for all of us. So we are really welcoming to people who want to contribute and want to dedicate some of their time to do some positive change. At that conference, when I actually told Ralph, the professor from Germany, that I really love conferences, I want to join more, I want to join those program committees and those organizing committees, he started to forward me all the invitations that he was receiving. So actually, soon after that, I became the main co-organizer of 2 conferences, or like workshops, collocated with other conferences. And it just opened the world that later led to a community that is now my main community. So my work is in software architecture as a subset of software engineering. And in software architecture, we have a conference called ICSA, so International Conference on Software Architecture. And that is really like my home. So like at the moment, I'm a steering committee chair of the ICSA conference, and I really consider it to be my home, my community. And whenever I go to a software engineering conference, I find so many people who are from my community that it just makes you feel home immediately. I find this as just one pathway, one illustration of how conferences can really transform and shape the way you create your space in your scientific community. And I believe that there are actually many things through this picture that I am now really bringing home from the conferences that I'm attending. So it's not anymore, and when I go to conference, I don't anymore think about presenting my work, really. What I think about is really, how can I, what can I bring home from the conference? And when you think about it, then even when you think about the keynote speaker, then you can bring home some inspiration you get from that keynote speaker. You can interact with that keynote speaker during the conference and just bring home the inspiration, or bring home the list of people you want to follow on social media, for example, because they really have a different kind of approach to solving some problems that you feel inspired by. Then it's visibility, because we are living in a world where it's very difficult to actually make our research visible. It gets just forgotten very soon if you do not help it becoming visible in your community. And it's difficult because you do not want to push your work like something best and wonderful on people, but at the same time you cannot just dismiss any kind of promotion of the visibility of your research, because you've invested lots of time and effort in it, so you want to become your research to become visible. So maybe you can help visibility of your work through the conferences and connections you create in there. You can bring home opportunities. So if you want to become part of the organizing team of some conference or workshop, or you want to organize a workshop on your own, it is possible at those conferences by connecting to the right people, by connecting to anybody, basically. Then one interesting, I think, especially for me and for many girls around me, as I feel it, as we go there to be challenged and to get some validation of our research, which is very difficult because sometimes we are not ready to receive criticism of our work, even if it can help us get better. So I think that going to conferences and get ready to really ask for constructive feedback and ask for feedback, might be critical, is very important part of our career. Really depersonalize that critical feedback from yourself and see it as a way to improvement, and really seek that feedback and learn to do that, which I call these simple acts of bravery, to ask for feedback for your work that is really honest and might be critical. But then also you can bring home some encouragement and support, because often you meet people who are in the same situation or were in the same situation that you are now. Sometimes you are really struggling with a phase in your career, whether it's like PhD student struggling throughout, like finding the right topic, or being a junior professor, struggling to get research projects to fund their team, or it's like experienced professors struggling to get time to have enough time with their students. Just, like pairing with people and getting encouragement is really valuable. So like in the end, I believe we are coming to conferences to develop meaningful connections that can have impact on our career and life. And if I could just bring some tips to make this most effective, I've collected them in a few slides. So what will be my tips to you as a conference newbie, to you as a conference master, and to you as a conference organizer? And I will start with a photo, because Reyyan told me that I should use some photos. So I will have a photo in here. And that is really funny, like secret tip, which is like get a roommate. When I like this one is coming from me attending the ITC conference. It's a huge community. So the conference is almost 2,000 participants. So it's really huge. And it often feels that you are just lost, like there are so many people. And so it actually is very nice to spend your time in a room with a roommate. ITC allows you to pair with a roommate just like through Excel sheets, where you can just fill in, I'm searching for a roommate, and somebody can just, like text you and say, hey, I'm available, so let's just pair and live together during the conference. And this is how I met Isha. Isha is here in the picture. So I'm her 2017 roommate. Daya is her 2018 roommate, and Adriana is her 2019 roommate. And we do roommate reunions every ITC, so that we really like do stuff together, and we always meet and we always have lots of fun. So this picture, for example, is Isha and Daya visiting me in Prague, although they both study in the US, which is really beautiful. So when we look at these tips for the newbies, I think that what helps is to know how to open a conversation with somebody at a conference, and to know what to do before and after. So there are quite great tips like this book, Never Eat Alone, that just tell you like what to do. Just to keep it very short, the first thing is actually a preparation. It's actually good to think up front, what do you want to bring home from that conference? And I mentioned those examples, like do you want to bring home some invitations to join paper writing project, or do you want to bring home some support and encouragement of friend, or not like friend, but I mean connection to a friend? Do you want to bring home some feedback on your work, or do you want to bring home some knowledge from another field that you are not in? But think about it up front, because it will help you also to interact with people during those coffee breaks. It will not be just like plain, looking at each other, but you suddenly have an idea of where to drive the conversation. Then just like opening a conversation is somehow difficult. I have one slide on that. It's also good to like really talk to people with generosity, vulnerability, accountability, and candor. So be your authentic self, not playing to be just the expert on the field, because that's also one thing that makes you easier to remember for people and easier to connect with. It's interesting to actually think up front how to leave and when to leave a conversation, because sometimes two people just get stuck during coffee break. Both of them would prefer to just move on and talk to more people, but none of them knows how to leave the conversation really. And then also building a meaningful relationship. Now, when opening a conversation with somebody at a conference, it's actually quite important to know if you feel comfortable starting, and you better give other people reason to start talking to you. So that can be quite funny, and they are really nice like tips and tricks. So we can go through them later if you are interested. If you are a conference master, I believe you can do a lot for people to feel comfortable at a conference and create some pairing and connections. So these rules are an example. For example, the Community ++ rule, which says that if you are on a conference, for example, I'm on my ICSA conference for 10th time already, so I should open a conversation with 10 strangers every day, because I'm the one who feels comfortable in the community. It's my 10th time at that community, so I should be the one opening the conversation. And if you make this a challenge for like everybody, it can make it more fun and interactive. Or like a Pac-Man rule, which is saying that you should never close a circle. When you stand in a circle talking to people, you should never close that circle. There should always be a space for people to just join and just interact with you. So one more tip for the conference organizer, as my last before I close, is the thing that you introduce these rules and you just said to everybody, let's just have it as a goal to interact, can be one thing that you can do as an organizer. Also thinking about supporting the creative networking and some time for the people, like allocating time for the people to network. But also, actually, it can be quite fun, and that's the thing that I would like to do in the Women Courage conference that I have my last slide on. And that is, we might maybe start organizing these pre-conference workshops on how to network at conferences, because that will actually help people to really then, you know, start a conference with that knowledge of how to open connections with people and how to make it meaningful for their career. So this is the conference I just mentioned, and it's my last slide. I would like to just invite everybody interested in this conference. This can actually also maybe fit nicely with this conference grants we'll be talking about, and I'll be happy to share more about the conference if you're interested. The important thing is the link to the conference, which I can actually then copy in the chat, but not now, after I stop sharing. And it's important we build this topic of the conference as bridging communities to foster innovation. It's open to all genders, but we want to celebrate women who are building those bridges between communities, because we see many examples where they do that, but it's not really appreciated by everybody because they are in an environment where it's more typical to stay in single discipline and in single community. So for people who are just transitioning from community to community, they really don't feel home in any community. And we want to celebrate those people who really are in different communities, but maybe do not get so much acknowledgement, but each single one of them. And have a day of the inspiration, then sharing with workshops, tutorials, and posters, and connect via hackathons, roundtables, and a career day. You can take part in different ways, like submitting a poster, workshop, and tutorial, going for a hackathon, or asking for a scholarship. And I think we can also, like, if you are connected to this EUGAIN co-section in any way, we can also find a way to ask for the conference grant through that means. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. And I hand back to Valentina. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bara, for the nice presentation and nice experience. There are couple of questions for Bara that you, as I can see from the chat, no one already formulated, or there are some questions?
I can actually answer them in chat, so we can give space
okay,
to
perfect.
Reyyan.
Okay, perfect.
And I can
So,
answer them in chat.
Okay. So, as I wrote a couple of minutes ago, our website is online, so we have the news very, very fresh. So, in a couple of minutes ago, we got this news that our website is available. So, I share again my screen, and this is the website. So our website is eugain.eu. Sorry for my pronunciation. This is our website when we can find everything about us. And of course, the important news, important posts will be available in Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and when we will have some pictures also in Instagram as well. Okay. So now we have to provide the stage, sorry, to Reyyan. Reyyan is the leader for the ICT grant working group or group that manage these activities. So Reyyan will explain us very in deep what are the ICT grant and how these important events will work in our network. Bara, the stage is yours. Sorry, Reyyan, the stage is yours. I want to listen again, Bara, because it was so amazing the talk that I want to listen again.
So thank you very much. First of all, thank you all attendees very much for being with us today. All men and women. We wanted, Letizia actually suggested that we should have our webinar on International Women's Day. And thank you very much, Valentina and Bara and Letizia, Vineke, helping out to organize this webinar. And now I will try to explain what ITC is. Bara, thank you so much for the very inspiring and informative talk. I'm sure most of our attendees will have been inspired by that. So let me start with what ITC means. Inclusiveness Target Countries. There are 20 countries, and on the left-hand side and on the map, you can see them. The white ones, Latvia, Macedonia, and Montenegro, are not participants of our action, but the rest are. And our action, actually cost actions, provide conference grants to young researchers from inclusiveness target countries, aiming to support researchers from participating countries to international science and technology related high-profile events. How does this happen? First, who can apply? If you're a PhD student from an institution located in an ITC, you are eligible. Or if not more than 8 years has passed after you had your PhD degree, then you are called ECI, Early Career Investigator, and you can apply. To what kind of conferences? International science and technology related conferences related with the aims of the cost action, our cost action, preferably European. But you need to have a poster or presentation at the conference. That means once you decide about attending a conference, you will need to apply to have a poster or a presentation where cost action will be acknowledged and will be listed in the conference program. So it's not very quick. Need to start ASAP. And cost action reimburses the following: 160 euros per day for accommodation and meals, up to a maximum of 500 euros for conference fees, but should not be more than 2,500 euros in total. The deadline for application is no later than 30 calendar days before the conference. We suggest that as soon as your abstract paper poster is accepted, just apply for attending the conference. How will application process be? You need to have your eCost account, log into your eCost profile, and select the ITC Conference Grants tab, and fill in the available application form there. The application form will contain details like your name, affiliation, country, your status, ECI or PhD student, your conference grant details, bank details, and expenses for which you are requesting financial support and necessary supporting documents. What are supporting documents? Your resume, your involvement in the cost action, and acceptance letters from the conference organizers, a copy of the abstract or poster submitted to the conference. And after the conference, it will be required to provide a scientific report at least after 30 days, and how this conference, what kind of an impact had on you, how did it affect you, and how this action has helped you in your research will be included in the report. So as I've told, the submission for the grant, conference grant, should be made after your abstract, your submission to the conference has been approved by the organizers of the conference. And what happens then? You attend the conference and you will need to have approval for reimbursement for the payment. For this, certificate of attendance or a report will be required to be submitted after the conference, not later than 30 calendar days. So the steps are: select your conference, decide on a paper poster, apply, and hopefully receive an acceptance letter, and then fill in the form that will be available in your eCost account profile. Fill in the form, attend the conference, collect your expenses, write your report, and get reimbursed. So we are at the very beginning of our 4-year journey with this action. I'm hoping that you will have chances to attend conferences, which probably in the near future can be face-to-face, in person. And please follow us from our website, EUGAIN.eu, and our social media accounts. Search for EUGAIN 19122. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Reyyan, for your amazing talk. And we have a question in the chat provided by Ruth. Ruth asks if Ireland is included in the list of the eligible countries, and Letizia provide us in the chat the list of the inclusive target countries. So the country are only the one reported in the post of Letizia. Is it right, Reyyan?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, Letizia.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying.
And before some more questions just arrive, it's maybe also good to say how it comes, like who is eligible to apply for all this, and it needs to be a person who has a connection with EUGAIN. For you to know like what are the kinds of persons, so it can be a management. If you are a management committee member of the EUGAIN, you can of course apply. You need to be a young researcher or PhD student. If you are just a working group member, so not a management committee, but just a working group member, you can also apply. And there is also a status of ad hoc memberships that are also possible. So we will be now probably growing and extending the network, and the number of people who will be eligible to apply for this grant will grow.
Okay.
Then we have other questions in the questions and answers.
Just see. So is the rest of the cost actions teams are supported but didn't have the chance for the conference? This is maybe enough, and not a question, it's a clarification.
Do you mean STSM, short-term scientific missions?
Elliot, if you
Elliot.
want to provide the question, we can. It's a clarification. Okay, otherwise
So,
we can allow you to speak.
STSMs are also another networking tool of cost actions, short-term scientific missions, and our first webinar was about them.
Yeah, so it's just good.
They are supported too. Postcode training schools are supported throughout this conference action, actually.
Yeah, and it's good to know that they are not overlapping. Yeah, sorry, that they are not overlapping. So it's not that somebody would go to a short-term scientific mission to a conference. So it's either or. And we have both these tools in the EUGAIN cost action program. So both, you can travel to conference with a conference grant, you can go to short-term scientific mission.
Yeah, exactly. And Letizia provides some other explanation about short-term certificate mission in the chat. So for the people that want to have more insight, have a look at the last comment of Letizia. So other question? No. So if there is no question, we can conclude now our second webinar. Letizia want to say something.
I wish to receive a lot of applications, both for short-term scientific mission and conference grant. It's not a heavy process to apply, so if you are in doubt, just send to Reyyan or to Patricia and me and Bara your ideas, and we will try to help, because I think that this scientific mission and these conferences are really the most important tool that we have to grow our community and to address the young people, because the community is made by the young people of the community. So we really wish you we really wish to include as many as young people as we can. So thank you very much, Valentina, for being such a funny and engaging moderator, and thanks, Bara.
And remember Twitter, remember, I control you. If you don't retweet our Twitter, I count how many of you did not do this one. Huh?
And thank you very much, and have a nice day, and stay safe. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you, Letizia, for your support, for answering questions.
I didn't do anything today. It was very, very nice to have this this role. And Bara, I was very inspired by your talk. Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very inspired.
Yes.
So much.
So talk to you soon.
Yes, talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Ciao.
Have a nice evening. Bye.